bad guy.
Yeah.
So I want to see the good guy. I want to see the good guy.
Next on our list is, I'm sorry, I always get the name mixed up. Ancient Magus's Bride, or what's it in Japanese?
Mahotsukai no Yome. I'm trying to brush up on my Japanese here. I think I nailed that, but oh no, I didn't even put the U in there, so I definitely did not nail that.
So Ancient Magus's Bride, this is my personal favorite of the season so far. This anime, okay, I am an absolute sucker for fantasy, for high fantasy. You know, the D&D style of high fantasy, dragons, magic, etc., etc. This stars a girl who basically sells herself into, she wants to sell herself into servitude because, why? It's like, it's not really given. We're 3 episodes in.
I'm not sure they actually gave the reason for that.
First, it looks like she wants to commit suicide. She wants to die, but at the point, I think the flashback showed at the point where she was going to, some dude who like ran a magical auction. They said, well, instead of throwing your life away, why not just sell it to someone else? Give your life some kind of meaning.
Yeah, like, he basically just gave her the Number to Logic song, if you know that one. If you've been listening to any pop music recently, you definitely know it. And
she's bought for $5 million by a man who has a deer skull for a head.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of the the auction house in Final Fantasy VI, where they have the joke items that they show up in there, and everybody's bidding on them, and then the one guy pops up and he just blows everybody away. That's kind of like how this scene goes. Elias walks in.
Elias.
Elias?
It's Elias, yeah.
Well, Elias, same thing. he just walks in, he blows everybody away with his bid. Nobody else is close to him.
It's like, we will start the bidding on this human life at $1 million. $1 million. Oh, 1.1 million. Oh, 1.15. $5 million. And just steps on the stage and goes, mine.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. He's completely alpha male in this scene. Dominant. He just walks on the stage. There's rules against it, and he's like, I don't care. This is my property.
And he just takes Chisei, who, by the way, I think Chisei's technically the lead character.
Yeah, she's the lead, I believe.
Yeah, I think if you would call Elias anything, he'd be the co-star. Even though he drives the story, but the story revolves around her. And it's like it's a Sorcerer's Apprentice sort of bit. Only apparently he has the ultimate goal of marrying her for reasons not
Yeah, I'm not sure why he wants to marry her. I guess after that bath scene at the beginning of the episode, that strongly convinced him.
Which, don't get it wrong, it's just, he just goes, your clothes are off now, get into the bath.
Yeah, I think it was just an issue of like, she hadn't taken a bath in a while, her clothes were awful, and he's like, you know what, you gotta clean yourself up.
Yeah.
And he just happened to be in the room, and she's freaking out.
Well, one of my favorite things about this anime, and it's usually something I don't like, when they just pop into, like, they do, like, the chibi faces.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when they do it with Elias, because he has this deer skull head, it looks hilarious.
Yeah, when they do that, it's just, they're doing it for comedy, and it works.
Like, a lot of it, I just hate it, because it feels cheap, it feels, overused, but whenever they do it to Elias, it's just funny.
And it's probably just because he has a deer head for a skull.
Probably. They have to emote him somehow. But so far, like, they really play up sort of like almost in a Pan's Labyrinth sort of way of, oh, look at the beautiful fairies, look at the beautiful, these fantasy things, but they're gonna kill you. If they have power over you if you let them have it. Like, even like when in the first episode, fairies try to draw Chisei off, and at first he goes, like, he watches it happen and just sort of goes, she's got to learn her lesson somehow.
Yeah, he says that she's got to learn her lesson, but I don't think there's actually anything implied that there's going to be consequences. Now, I think there is, because she was going to step to a portal, and I think, after she did that, it's gone. It's done. It's over. She's gone. But
they were really trying to get it, almost as if like they were almost desperate to get her in there for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of like oh, what do they call it? The deal with the devil, where he's trying to trick you. Yeah. Kind of like with the Modica Magica Cube thing. You don't want to sign the contract. You don't want to follow these fairies. What they're trying to do is bad.
Yeah. Well, this one is also 3 episodes in, or 4?
Yeah, we're 3 episodes in
Okay.
on this one.
And so far, what I like about it is you can tell that this world is full of lore. This world is full of background, and because we're following the protagonist is obviously Chisei, we know how as much as Chisei knows. And even though it is lore heavy, and it's like lore, and lore, it's not actually shoving it down your throat. It's actually easing you into this world and giving you little tidbits of information as you get to know the character of Chisei.
Yeah, they're not hitting you with huge exposition info dumps. They're just doing it gradually. They're easing everybody in, and they're not just hitting you with a just brick wall or something. They're just hitting you over the head with everything, kind of like Children of the Whales is doing this season. That was another show we were gonna watch.
Yeah.
I think we forgot about that, but they're kind of similar. That, you know, I love the art style to this show. It's gorgeous. Everything about it's gorgeous.
Yeah, except, and I'm going to stop you there because there's one bit that every time I watch the show, it just jars me. It's like my eyes go right to it, and it's so jarring because every other character's drawn like you see an anime character drawn, but Chisei for some reason has these eyes, these giant fucking eyes, and I don't know why. They're just enormous. Everyone else has proportioned eyes to their body structure. She has giant fucking... Like, you know, you see my eyes inside my glasses? Her eyes are the size of the glasses. Meanwhile, everyone else has eyes that's normal eye size.
Yeah, that does not bother me none. You know, they had... we got started in the 90s, Featherhoof and I. Got, like, Sailor Moon... Yeah. Gigantic eyes. Other shows, Dragon Ball Z, they had gigantic eyes in
and
that
still
as well.
do.
Yeah, they still do. They're running Dragon Ball Super now.
But here's the thing, though, and to me it breaks the fourth wall. It breaks the fourth wall because every other character has toned down eyes. Everyone has basic shaped eyes. Some are more exaggerated than others. Like in the 3rd episode, we met can't remember his name, the guy with the dragons. But his eyes were a little bigger than other characters we met in the series, but they weren't Chisei large. It just breaks the fourth wall of every other character in the show, and it kind of bothers me a little bit.
I'm bothered zero about it, you know. I think the artwork to this show is gorgeous. Every set piece they have blows me away.
Yeah, if we're talking about the set pieces, the background art,
yeah,
the background art is gorgeous. Oh my god.
I'm loving the music to this show. It's on point. And another thing that goes along with music is the sound effects. When in the first episode, Elias strikes his cane against the floor.
Oh yes.
I believe that's an actual cane being struck against a stone floor. They're on point with these sound effects.
And they modulated it so well because they had magic effects coming off of it, but you still hear that thunk of cane on wood. Boom! And it was so well done.
It's not like everybody's criticizing the new Berserks that are airing because first off, they're CG and most people hate CG. And another point of contention is the sound effects. Guts has a giant sword called the Dragon Slayer, and when he strikes something in the show, it goes clang. it has that sound, you know, like it's hollow or something. But if you know anything about Berserk, this is a 400-pound sword. Completely unrealistic, but Guts can wield it because he's Guts.
Yes. Well, the thing I love about, and why I keep forgetting, Ancient Magus' Bride is one of my favorite shows, though, is because it's a slower anime. It's not about fighting the big bad guy every episode. It's not about the big new threat every episode. It's about figuring out this mystery of Chisei's background, while on the same time, while she's also trying to figure out the mysteries of Elias and this world she never knew existed. And, you know, her acclimating to her brand new life. It's so brilliantly paced. It's so... but it's at the same time that can also be one of its weaknesses, because we're 3 episodes in, and so far there's no direction. There's literally no direction yet.
You know, that's not going to bother me because...
Well, it can. I'm saying it can be. If they don't go anywhere soon, it's like, you know, it's... You know, what's going to draw you?
No, because I started watching... I'm not sure if it started airing in the spring or the summer. Boruto. I'm not sure, but this show had no direction. It wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't figure out. It was just boring me, and you know, I was a huge fan of Naruto. I love to read the manga. Go read the manga, by the way. The manga is better than the show.
Way better.
Way better because I don't like Studio Pierrot. They're terrible.
And the art is just fantastically drawn in the manga.
Yeah, in the manga, the artwork just it blows you. It blows me away. You can't do that level of artwork in a animated show. You just can't.
However, Ancient Magus' Bride is sure as fuck making an attempt.
Yeah, they're making an attempt, and they're doing a great job at it.
So that is my number 1 for this season so far. That's his number 3, and we're going to talk about the next 2 shows that we watched.
Yeah, this is a strong season. You know, nothing wrong with the next 2 shows, but they don't make the top 3 for me or him.
No. Next, we watched Girls' Last Tour. We picked it almost out of pure curiosity. Like, the trailer, the promotional video really didn't show much.
Not much at all.
It didn't say much, it didn't do much, it just sort of was like, look at our style. You know, and we're just like, you know, the character styles are odd, they're chibi, but at the same time, the rest of the artwork is damn near gorgeous. But it's like this weird, desolate... Let's set the scene. It's,
I'm not sure what time period this takes in, because you did comment today when we were watching the opening about them goose-stepping.
Yes.
So, I'm not sure, you know, they're goose-stepping, they're pulling dance moves. I'm not sure what time period this is set in. But it's a post-apocalyptic world. Everybody's dead. Except,
go ahead.
Except, you know, we just got done watching the 3rd episode. They introduced another character. I think he's probably gonna die based on what I saw, but he may come back.
I don't know. This man, I think it's gonna have I think he's just gonna be like this. And if they introduce characters in this show beyond him, I think it's gonna be sort of a what would you call it? Like Trigun. You know, in Trigun they would introduce characters, you know, and then you'd see them for that episode, and they'd never be referenced again.
Yeah.
You know, I think but it was important to that story, to that moment in these 2 girls' lives. Yuri and Chito.
Yeah, I don't even remember the names.
Yeah, I remember because it's Yu and Chi. So it's about these 2 cute little girls who for some reason have a vehicle that looks like a tank and a motorcycle like mated and had a baby. And it does. And
yeah, it's a bizarre little vehicle.
And they are just trying to survive in a world where apparently it's like post-war, some crazy-ass war, and they're the only people left in the world.
And he mentioned survival, so I did have this bet going on with him that they would not survive past the 3rd episode because they're kind of idiots. I'm not sure.
Well, no, the reason the bet came was because 2nd episode, they find rations. They find food rations in this old busted-up plane, and the blonde, she's the sniper, by the way. The black-haired little girl, I can't remember which one's which.
She's kind of like a tank pilot or whatever. She just does the driving.
And she refuses to wield a weapon. You know, she's like, why don't you get a weapon? She's like, I don't want weapons. I don't want weapons. The sniper, basically, like, they have, the packet of rations has five little strips of chocolate-flavored rations, which apparently, let me say that first. They go past a sign, and it goes, I can't read it. I can't, you know, too bad I can't read. And then the subtitles show what the words are. But apparently, the rations written in the same language. Yeah, actually, chocolate flavored. What is chocolate?
Yeah, I actually wrote that one down. You know, what's it say right here? Okay, they could read in the 1st episode, but they couldn't read in the 2nd episode. So,
so they have these rations, and of course, there's 5. And they were talking about, I wonder why there's war. Oh, maybe because, you know, people fought over food or land or this, that, and the other. And there's 1 stick of the chocolate left.
There's 1 stick of chocolate left. And what's coming next is completely unnecessary because, mind you, they found an entire crate full of these. So,
and the little bars are split into 4.
Yeah, they're like some kind of... Man, I can't even think of those foods I used to eat when I was a kid. They're kind of like graham crackers or something where you can break them up into smaller pieces. So they're they get into a fight over the last one in this package.
So see, you call it a fight. It's not even that. The blonde just sort of snatches it from her hand, stands up, and points her sniper rifle in her face and goes, "It's mine."
Yeah, she's like, "It's mine. This is completely unnecessary."
Well,
she's like,
"It's not even unnecessary. It breaks her character."
Well, she's like, "This is mine," and the other girl, what's her name? Is it you or Chi?
I can't. I have a hard time remembering which one's which.
Yeah, well, the black-haired one. She's like, "Why are you doing it?" And she's like, "This is war." And it's like, neither of them are going to starve. They have tons of these rations. They just looted them from this plane. But this girl wanted the last one in that pack, and so she's going to blow her head off. I guess it was just a practical joke, but it's not funny when somebody points a gun at your head.
Yeah. Well, what I like about the show is that even though it's not it's not a continual overarching story, you know, like with Ancient Magus' Bride or Land of the Lustrous, where episode 1 flows into 2, flows into 3, etc. It's very episodic. Every episode has its own contained story, but each episode references things like that in the past. They will actually reference these adventures they had in the past. For instance, the blonde, one point, throws one of the black-haired girl's diaries into the fire by accident. She has a ditz moment. And the black hair says, "Put fuel on the fire," while the blonde's holding her book.
Yeah, the black-haired girl, she really loves books. She carries around a pack of books. She writes in a diary, and this girl just immolated one of her books in the second episode. And she's like, you know, that's just wrong. You can't do that.
Well, and even though that actually creates an interesting little dynamic between the two right then and there, but it showed in the third episode, she still remembers that. And she's still holding it against her. So it actually does, I mean, it didn't play a major part, but it did show that their characters have changed and evolved over time. And it's actually, they're not just like, okay, that happened, it's done, we're not referencing that. They do reference what happened to them.
Yeah, they're bringing back allusions from past episodes. They also brought back the wafer sticks in this episode,
yes,
too.
Yes, they did.
Apparently the blonde-haired girl learned to share, but I guess it's only because it was like a cherry or strawberry one.
It's fruit flavored.
Yeah, it was fruit flavored. So she's like, "Okay, you can have this one since it's not chocolate."
I mean, she didn't say that, but we implied it.
Yeah, it's got to be implied because, you know, during this episode, she's like holding this gun up to this guy's head. She wants to shoot this guy in the face, like, so bad. She's like, "Can I do it? Can I do it?" But they never give her the chance, and, you know, she just gives him this fruit-flavored stick out of the charity of her heart, and he does not get his head blown off, so I guess she's going to be depressed or something, you know, at nighttime.
But one of the things I do love about the show is that, another thing, rather, is that they do ask some interesting questions. Like this episode, most recently, was they were actually trying to figure out, why do people live?
Yeah, they asked an interesting question, why do people live? And the answer was by just smacking the other girl in the back of the head with the butt of her rifle. She was not interested in that question at all, and then she immediately went to sleep.
But fortunately, it was brought up a couple more times throughout the episode, and it was actually the first episode of the series so far that actually was really almost tender, almost like a little feely. Like before, it was just sort of like the first 2 episodes just sort of set you up. Here's these little girls' antics in a wasteland. How do they survive? And when they brought this third person in, it actually sort of created a dynamic that was different, and I really liked it.
Yeah, and I kind of painted these girls as kind of psychotic because, you know, they're the ones holding her gun to the head, but they're just drawn so cute, and, you know, when they're hitting each other and fighting, you know, they're just playing, and it's all animated cutely. They're like, you know, that wasn't funny. Why are you doing that? They're hitting each other in the head, but it's really not funny when you put a gun at somebody's head.
And that sort of brings me to the negatives of the show, though. The negatives of the show is because of stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like they pull these things. It's like, oh, look how cute and funny it is. But it's like if you didn't have the chibi art style there, they wouldn't be cute or funny. It just sort of be like, oh shit, did that person just point a gun at that person's head?
Yeah.
Oh shit, did that person just basically threaten that other person's life? And it's like the show is very, when it's not trying to do stuff like that, when it's like, oh wait, we gotta throw a little bit of funny in there, a little bit of cute.
Yeah, the jokes are funny. They are funny.
But it's like, they almost feel like, oh wait, we gotta throw some cute in there. We need to throw some cute. This is too dire. It's, the show in and of itself is, in my opinion, it's the weakest of the 5 we've watched this season. And it's because it's, I like Ancient Magus's Bride because it's slow, it's building up, you can tell it's building up to something. This is slow, but it doesn't feel like it's building up to anything. It's quiet.
I don't think it's building up to anything at all. You know, there's not going to be some great philosophical, profound thing that we find at the end of, what is it, 12 episodes? I'm not sure. Probably 12 episodes, but it's not building up to that. I was talking about Girlish Number earlier. This actually is a cute girls doing cute things show. Yeah.
Only in a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
In a post-apocalyptic wasteland.
And that's pretty much all you can say about it. That's really all it really is. But it's still, it's one of those things, you don't watch it because you're excited to see what happens next. It's one of those shows you watch because, oh, I liked that last episode, let's see what happens now.
It's a good ride while it's on, but it's not going to be, you know, I don't think I'm going to look back 5 years now and say, you know what, I really enjoyed that Girls Last Tour show. But for right now, you know, it's a great show for the season. Sadly, you know, there's just very strong shows in this season, and it has to compete with those.
And I think we're going to talk about our last pick, which was definitely stronger than this one. And finally, the last anime series we decided to pick up this season was Kino's Journey. I think it's something like Beautiful World or something to that effect.
Yeah, we finally figured that out between the, 300 takes we took in between, because we just could not figure this out, so we had to look that up. Yeah. So it's Kino's Journey, The Beautiful World, and not sure what to say about this show because it is episodic like our last one. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not sure there's any continuity, but it's a really fun show, you know.
Well, my first impression after 3 episodes, actually I got this impression after the 2nd episode, because again, we're 3 episodes in, is this show, it feels like if, now follow me here, give me a minute, it feels like the first, 10 episodes of Trigun. Not as action-packed as Trigun was, because the first episode was really action-packed, but but in the way that how, you know, Vash and the girls who are following him always just sort of end up in a city, and here's how the, you know,
hijinks ensue.
Yeah, and they move on. And now next episode, they're in a city. Hijinks ensue, they move on. And that's how Kino feels. Kino is a wanderer who, for some, you know, unexplained reason, has a talking motorcycle that they call a motorad.
Yeah, he or she, I'm not sure on that one. This is kind of like Land of the Lustrous. We're not sure on the gender of Kino at this point.
Well, we know
that Kino is voiced by a woman.
But we also know that in every description we ever find of every episode, it says Kino and he does, or he sees, or he...
See, I'm still on the fence about that one. I'm not sure if it's a he or a she. I'll probably never be sure, because I'm probably not gonna think about this a lot.
But I mean, it's us nitpicking at this point because there's nowhere in the show that it's ever relevant.
Yeah. So as a talking motorcycle, there's a lot of things in the show that talk that you would not normally expect.
Well, no, only 2 things so far.
Only 2 things.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There's only been 2 things so far.
Okay. So
first episode we are introduced to Kino, and I'm just, for sake of argument, let's just say his. You know, for this,
the motorcycle is named Hermes.
Yes, and Kino's motorcycle, Hermes. And it's just that. They go from place to place, they meet people in those places, and Kino just sort of either goes along with the journey or specifically is there to interfere with something. Because 2nd episode, Kino is clearly there to interfere with something.
Yeah,
oh my god.
So Kino's journeying, he is, you know, trying to... What I got from it is he's going to visit different countries, you know. He's kind of like a tourist. And him and Hermes are going there. First episode deals with this really unique kind of lawless land, you know.
Well, it's not lawless.
Not lawless.
It's not lawless. It has a very strict law in which... And it's a great turn. I mean, I almost don't want to say it because it's such a great turn.
Yeah, we shouldn't spoil it.
But the law of the land is that murder is not illegal.
Yeah, it's not it's not illegal. So
yeah, specific wording for a specific reason. Watch the episode. It has a great turn at the end. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, I really like that first episode.
It definitely got. We were like, this is staying. This is staying. We're moving on with this, and we were rewarded with the second episode.
A lot of people do have a 3-episode rule for animes in particular. You know, I'm not sure where the show's going until I've watched the 3rd episode. Maybe not, but you know, you really need to judge something off the first episode because you need to make those promises of what the audience or the reader needs to expect from a show. This show delivers in spades. We've got the journey, we've got the Kino. Yeah, because Featherhoof keeps confusing Kino with a gambling game, and he's just journeying around. Each of these episodes, we've been pleasantly surprised,
or surprised.
Yeah.
Second episode. Jesus.
So the second episode. Should we spoil that one?
No, but there is a specific image that I'm going to put up right now. I'm going to put it right over top of our faces. That when we saw it, we laughed so hard.
Yeah, it was funny, and
an event happened that was so shocking that a random dog in the audience had to sit there and go.
Yeah, this dog's jaw dropped. He was like, "Whoa, what just happened, man?"
It's this dog. This dog isn't even introduced throughout the entire episode.
I think we see him like one time before. We're not even it's not apparent that he's a character or anything. But then they just like this event happens, and then there's a cut over to this dog, and his jaw's dropped. He's like, "Holy shit, that just happened."
See, this is going to be one of the hardest animes for us to talk about because it's episodic. It's not like we can, like if we talked about Ancient Magus' Bride, we talked about basically the events of the first episode, but it doesn't spoil anything for you. Because each episode is episodic, just talking about a specific episode ruins that whole episode, and the second episode is one that we can't talk about.
I don't want to spoil the first or second episode. Do you care if I spoil the third one?
I don't, because there was no real grandiose thing with it. Like that was the third episode is like, hey, you know what? Kino's an asshole. This country's an asshole, and that country's an asshole.
Yeah, both countries are assholes. Kino does not like to pay taxes, so he goes into this one country, which is like a moving fortress or something, and this moving fortress is heading towards another country, and they've built a giant wall to keep them out. I'm going to try to keep that as non-political as possible, but they're like the country that erected the walls, like, you guys are not coming through. You got to stop. And then they start attacking them. The fortress is unfazed. These guys are just assholes. The guys in the fortress, you know,
no empathy. They actually, when they go, oh look, there's a section. If we go along there, then that would cause the minimum loss of life.
Yeah, the minimum loss of life. I think they say only a few structures are going to get damaged, a few houses. I think when they actually show the shot, it's actually going over farmland with vegetables and everything. So they're like, yeah, we're going through there. That's going to cause the least amount of damage, which is not true at all. So
yeah, because they're a giant country that has giant mega tank treads. They're destroying the farmland, absolutely decimating it. And the crux of the whole episode, when you get to the end, it turns out that that country who built the wall to begin with, to get through, you have to pay major taxes. Kino didn't want to pay the taxes.
You have to pay a major tax to be able to go across the border. Kino did not want to pay the tax. He's like, that's too expensive. Just happenstance that this other country full of these assholes is coming through, and he's like, you know what? I'm hitchhiking with you. I'm 3 or 4 days. You get through the wall, and so asshole country gets through the wall, no problem. It does not deter them. Again, I'm trying to stay as non-political as possible because that's up in the air or whatever, but they go through that wall, they trample all over the farmland, they bust down houses, these guys, and then they try to take the moral high ground.
Yes, oh my god. Yeah, it's like, well, you know, they were charging taxes for people going through there, so I guess we're totally justified for destroying the houses and livelihoods of all of those people.
Yeah, and like the kids inside the giant death tank had like drawn some poster or image on top of it, and and
they get offended. it. They have the audacity to defend it.
So these guys who had built the wall, I'm not sure the names of either of these countries.
They don't give it.
It doesn't matter. They're both assholes. One's charging an outrageous tax. These other guys are just trampling on people's lives. So the country that builds the wall, they're aiming all of their artillery fire at this image, this poster, this great thing that they put on top of the death tank, which is I'm just going to call it a death tank because that's what it is. It kind of reminds me of that thing from Valkyria Chronicles.
A little bit, yeah.
So they're firing there, and they're trying to take the moral high ground. They're like, oh, the kids are just going to be disappointed that that's getting ruined.
So, yeah, that's Kino. That's really Kino in a nutshell. It's just every episode has these really great yet contained stories. But they're so great. Again, it's just like with Girls Last what's it?
Last Tour.
Tour. Is that you're going to watch the show because not because I'm excited to see what happens next, but because that was such a great episode. That last one was so great. I'll watch this one.
Yeah, I think that the first 2 episodes of this were a lot stronger than the third one.
Yes.
I'm waiting to see what's going to happen in the 4th episode. I kind of like to go into things blind. They showed the promo video. I'm probably going to forget it by next week, but we're going to be discussing that anyway next week.
Yep. So, with that, that's the 5 animes we've watched, and Kino, again, I give a thumbs up to.
Yeah, thumbs up.
But it's, like I said, I would say it's the 2nd weakest of the 5.
Yeah, 2nd weakest.
With Girls Last Tour definitely being the weakest of the 5.
Because it's episodic, you know. Yeah. There's no real continuity to it. We're just really skipping around from here to there, and
actually, it has a bigger fault than Girls Last Resort then, because so far it hasn't had any back references.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to keep coming up with episodes like the 1st and 2nd one, which were just brilliant.
Yeah. And guys, that's all we got. That's all the anime we've watched this week. So, guys, this episode ran on a lot longer than we had planned it to because we had 3 weeks worth of anime to talk about.
Yeah, 3 weeks, and I think we got a little carried away there, too.
Yeah. So, next episode, each subsequent episode, it's going to be shorter.
Yeah, shorter because we don't have to talk about the shows we dropped, and we don't have a lot of episodes that we had to play catch-up on.
Exactly, and not every episode updates every week. So,
provided they don't have any holidays, I don't think they're going to have, like, Golden Week. I think that's a springtime thing.
Okay. So, guys, hopefully you like this episode. Let us, give us feedback of things that, any kind of feedback you'd like to see, any kind of criticisms. Let us know what you guys think. Hey, if you watch the animes we've talked about, even if because we've talked about it, let us know and let us know what you think about them. For now, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, share it, or you can click on the annotations for other videos we've done. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.